Hey guys, I'm back after a very long time with another episode of What's Growing. I apologize for the inordinate delay, but hopefully you've been enjoying some of the sustainable house videos that I've been putting out. I'm here at what we call Kadamb Bagh, a quarter of an acre plot built under the big Kadam tree. The Kadam tree that we planted ourselves about 11 years ago, and it's really huge, and about 40 other trees are now growing under it, and so are several crops. And I want to take you around for a walk. You would have seen the same Kadambaag in our What's Growing episode 21, which would have been shot perhaps a year ago. So you can see the comparison between how it looked then and how it's looking now. On the southern edge of Kadambaag, we have a bunch of banana trees, and as you can see, they have a lot of bananas growing on them. They're all looking pretty good, and soon we will be able to harvest these and have them either as fruit or even to make banana chips, banana vegetable. Let's see what else is growing in Kadambaag. Now you can look here, and I'm also going to take you around and show you more of it, but this is just my beautiful ginger. Last year, if you remember seeing the ginger in the garden, we planted it for the first time. We had a great harvest, and this is unusual for our microclimate. I don't think too many people in our belt here grow ginger, but that's what happens when you have like a microclimate. You end up creating small zones which might be a bit cooler or a bit warmer than the rest of your farm, and this allows you to grow many more things than you could probably grow otherwise. So what we did last year was we harvested the ginger and then we saved our own seed, and we've planted our own seed this year, and it's probably got acclimatized to our surroundings and to our climate, and it's doing really well. I'm so grateful and happy at how the ginger is doing in this garden. You will see a lot of small trees that we had planted, I would say a year and a half ago. This is a citrus. I'm not sure what citrus it is. We'll figure out when it starts giving fruit. You will also see here some colocasia, which is really self-seeded. So it's just sort of come out on its own, and obviously we've let it be. We have some pears, a pear tree here, and I'm trying to figure what that one is. Perhaps it's a custard apple, or it's another variety of citrus. Maybe it's a grapefruit actually, given the size of the leaf, but we'll know once it starts fruiting. Now look here beyond me, you will see turmeric. And last year we had planted two varieties of turmeric. One was the Vardha variety and one was Punjab. And after getting the harvest, we sort of figured out which one works better for us. We've saved that seed. So this again is seed that we saved on our own, and we replanted this year, and again I think it's doing well. See, the advantage of saving your own seed is not only that you don't have to buy seed, but you actually end up having a lot more seed than you would buy, because when you're buying, you're always conscious of how much money you want to spend on seed. But typically when you save your own seed, suddenly you have much more than what you would have bought, and so your sort of crop and your output keeps expanding, and you get practice. So every time you're more confident of growing a little bit more, and that's exactly what's happening with us. So we have now a lot of turmeric here, we have a lot of ginger here, and we are looking forward to harvesting all of this in the winter. We've been selling our turmeric powder, we've been selling our ginger powder, and it's a great crop to actually dehydrate and powder and then sell. So it makes it makes good economic sense to grow both of these. All right, so you will see a pomegranate here. This is actually quite a new tree, not very old, and we've already plucked out some pomegranates from here. You will see one or two are left, but we did enjoy some of them. They're not turning the bright red that one would expect them to be. They pretty much remain the same color, but they are quite tasty, even though the insides are not a bright red, the kind that you see in the market. This is a young guava plant here, not yet fruiting. Another pomegranate tree, which is sort of some kind of a creeper is growing on it, but we will you know, it doesn't matter. It's a very small, it's a very young plant, just about a year old. Again, the citrus is a year old as well. Now, these are the kind of suckers that you want to get rid of. So unfortunately, I don't have my pruners on me right now. But can you tell the difference between these branches and this? See, this is suddenly a thorny sucker. And let's just take a moment and go down to the source. And you will find the source of these suckers to be way down in the main branch. See, this is the source of the sucker. So you don't want these suckers. You want to actually cut them off because they will suck the energy of the plant and they are not going to be the fruit bearing branches at all. So I'll get my pruners and I will snip these off tomorrow. If you haven't already seen it, please take a moment to admire the Kadamb tree. It is huge. And one of the things that I tell all the visitors to our farm is that we must learn to think about a tree not just from what we see above the ground, but also from what there is beneath the ground. So if this is about a 50 or 60 foot tree, imagine the root network that's there beneath this garden thanks to this Kadamb. And the things that it's doing for us, including holding moisture, making your soil spongy. You know, some of the other trees are fixing nitrogen, mining minerals from deep down and bringing them into their biomass. Like you can see the citrus here, which is also a very big tree, and it's a nitrogen fixing tree. So it's fixing nitrogen for itself and it's also fixing nitrogen for the rest of the garden. And it suddenly caught my eye, and let's go across and see some of this as well. Again, a nice bunch of bananas growing right there. Yeah, and this is the beauty of a food forest. You know, you just chance upon food here and there, even though you probably lost track of the fact that you were growing something there. All right, let's keep going. You'll find some places that there's a mishmash of turmeric and ginger. This is probably because some of it is self-seeded and we didn't really plant it, but it's grown on its own. So what happens is that, you know, the ginger's probably what we planted here, but the turmeric's grown on its own from last year. So this whole patch is actually partly self-seeded and partly probably grown, seeded by us. All right, here's a guava tree. Again, this is a pretty young tree, and in fact I didn't prune it this year, I sort of forgot. But you will see that it's got guavas growing here. And as the mango season has ended, we've started enjoying these guavas, which we have been harvesting and having. Okay, this is a custard apple. This is a custard apple tree. It's not yet fruiting, but it's a young tree, not very old, and hopefully it will start fruiting next year. But doing well, again part of the same food forest. And finally, in this corner, you will see the entire line of papayas in papaya circles. From this angle, you can probably see the entire line of papaya circles. And the reason that the papayas have been placed here is because it's just on the edge of that little river which runs through our garden whenever it rains heavily. So the water from there comes into our papaya circles and helps to irrigate them, and actually even sort of keeps them watered for a very long time. And if you take a look at them, almost all of them are fruiting now, and these plants are just a year old. So a lot of papayas here, and you can keep looking at them. All of them have started fruiting, and I feel this is the advantage of putting them in circles. And you know, you get good growth, you get a good girth, and they start fruiting much sooner than what you would get if you were to plant them in lines or, you know, whichever other way. So this is really the edge of, you know, the other edge of Kadamb Bagh, and you can just see the entire garden and how it's got so much diversity, so many fruiting trees, trees which are big, trees which are small, trees which are flowering, trees which are nitrogen fixing, trees which give you biomass. You know, it's like a collection of so many species and varieties and so many functions that it's like a little mini forest really. And we are getting so much output out of this because of the fact that we've managed to design it in a way that every tree gets sunlight. They all benefit from each other's presence. We harvest the water in a very nice fashion so that whenever it rains, this garden gets sufficient water but does not get flooded. And as a result, it's become like a little thriving ecosystem of its own. And yes, you can hear the birds. So many birds are living here as well, who also perform a very big function in both fertilizing this area as well as managing the pests. So Kadamb Bagh is now really, it's not just about what's growing here, but it's also about how things are coming together to create these very resilient and strong ecosystems where you can actually grow things which you probably won't be able to grow in an open field, and you manage to get a lot of diversity out of a small piece of land. So that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed this little walk and soaked in the lush greenery and saw what all is growing here. If you are in India, do come for one of our farm tours, and you can find the details in one of the tabs here about how to book your farm tour and come and spend a few hours with us. That will be nice. And so this is me, Manisha Gupta from Aanandaa Permaculture Farm, signing off and wishing you a great week ahead. Bye-bye.